All right, so you got roots that are all oily and your ends are dry and splitting on you. Let's go over why that is and how to fix it. Mistake 1. I was talking to a client who had this exact problem the other day, and I was asking about her hair routine so I could help her fix it. Are you washing your hair twice? Yes. Are you really getting in there and scrubbing with your fingers? Yes. So I'm like, okay, and which shampoo are you using? And she's like, the brand you recommend, of course, Redken. And that's a big red flag. So I ask, which Redken shampoo is it?
I don't know if you've seen this video. There's like 30 Redken shampoos.
She's like, it's just Redken. You recommend Redken, so I go online and I buy it. So I had to explain to her that these Redken shampoos are not at all similar in quality. They're all very, very different. Think of it like a menu at a restaurant. There's this local place that I absolutely love, but I don't love everything on the menu, and you will never catch me ordering the calamari. Anyway, it turns out that she was using Redken All Soft, which is the calamari of Redken shampoos. It's a terrible choice for fine or medium hair because it has oil in it. So when you use it to get your hair clean, you're literally putting oil right back into your oily hair. So of course she was having issues. And when you have oily hair, you have to wash more often, which dries out your ends. And that's why she had oily and dry hair. Anyway, we got her a new shampoo that I actually did recommend with some hair oil for her ends. And later that week, she texted saying that her hair wasn't oily or dry anymore. She couldn't believe how easy it was to fix. The moral of this story is you're way closer to having amazing hair than you think you are. It's just that one mistake here or there that can ruin your entire routine without you even knowing. Mistake number 2. All right, let's talk dry ends for a second. I had a new client come in for the very first time. Let's call her Cookie.
Cookie?
Cookies? So Cookie goes, I've been trying to grow my hair out for years. And I was like, awesome, you're in the right place because that's exactly what my specialty is. And she's like, oh, cool, but I don't think you've seen ends that are as dry as mine. I had to trim them every 6 weeks, so they never even get a chance to grow out. Look how dry they are. And I'm like, yeah, those are pretty dry, some of the driest I've ever seen. So I show her this chart to explain how ends work and what makes them dry. Ends are born up here on the top of your head. We call them roots. And when they grow out, they become mids. And then finally, they become ends. So for an end to become an end, it's taken years of punishment, every bad color job, every bad TikTok product that hurt your hair, every time you skipped the heat protectant, all that damage built up over the lifetime of your ends to make them dry and brittle. But there's this myth that if you just trim the dry ends, they'll magically be replaced with new healthy ones. But that's not true at all. Those new ends went through the exact same trauma as your old ends, so they're gonna be dry and split right away on you too. So the question is, how do we stop the cycle of constantly having dry ends that we have to trim? She's telling me that she's tried every mask on the market and she uses the mask every time she washes her hair, so why isn't that fixing the dryness? The problem here isn't adding moisture. That's actually really easy. The problem is that ends are always losing moisture, and the only way you can fix your ends from losing moisture is with a proper hair routine. And a proper hair routine takes care of all 3 parts of your hair: the roots, the mids, and the ends. She needed a shampoo soulmate for healthy roots, a leave-in conditioner to seal and protect her mids, and hair oil for shiny, healthy ends. This is called the Trinity routine, and it will turn your healthy roots into healthy mids, and healthy mids into healthy ends that don't split, crack, and dry on you because they're fully protected the entire life cycle. It worked for Cookie, who now has hair down to her mid back, and it'll work for you. You can check it out in my recommended product list in the description. It'll walk you through everything. Mistake number 3. So there's a college right down the road from my salon, and one of the students, we'll call her Philomena.
Philomena from FGCU.
Philomena from the Philippines. She used to always come in and get her hair done for sorority events and formals and whatever those types of people do.
Fun things. They do fun things.
Sure. And she'd always ask, what products are you using? What is that? Then she'd go on her phone and go buy it. And she could have bought it like right off the shelf here, but whatever, no judgment. Anyway, a few months later, she comes in for another sorority event to get her hair done. And she says, no matter what I do, my hair is always oily and dry. I got the same products you have, but they just don't work at home. So I'm like, okay, walk me through your routine, starting with the products. She pulls out her phone and she's like, let me check my order history so I can tell you everything. I glance over and I see that she's on Target.com. And I'm like, wait a second, just show me this real quick.
Target's great, by the way.
She had been buying the drugstore brand version of everything that we used in the salon, which was one of the worst possible things you could do. Just because this looks like this does not mean they're the same thing at all. They could not be more different. The thing about cheap products is they make your hair greasy, and that forces you to wash your hair way more often, which dries your ends out, so you're stuck living a life of oily and dry hair. You're literally better off saving your money and using no products than you are buying Target products. Anyway, Philomena finally gave in and started using the real products, and guess what? She doesn't have oily and dry hair anymore. Well done, Philomena.
Good job, Philly.
Mistake 4. All right, so I was talking to a client who was in her early 20s. She used Pantene and drugstore brands while she was in high school and college. But since she graduated and has a career now, she wanted to upgrade to a professional shampoo and conditioner, take her hair to the next level. But when she made the switch, there was a problem. And you guessed it, oily roots strike again. She was like, I don't get it. The cheap shampoos never did this to my hair. So why are the nice shampoo and conditioner giving me this problem?
Yeah, make me spend all my money to get greasy roots.
Hold on, Philomena.
It's not Philomena. He didn't give her a name.
No, I'm talking to you. So I told her, because you were never taught how to wash your hair correctly. And she was just quiet. She was wondering, like, is this guy joking? Like, am I being punked right now?
Here comes Ashton Kutcher.
So I cut the awkward silence and said, it doesn't matter how you wash your hair with cheap shampoos and conditioners, because they don't do anything. They literally do nothing. And she's like, what do you mean? I don't get it. What's the right way to do it? So I show her this diagram of the split method.
Pulled out a diagram. Excuse me, ma'am. Hold, please. Let me grab this diagram.
Let me just grab my diagram real quick. If you put cheap conditioner on your roots, nothing happens, because cheap conditioner doesn't do anything. Because cheap conditioner.
There's cheap conditioner, sells seashells by the sea.
But if you put high quality conditioner on your roots, it has tons of moisture, so it's gonna weigh it down and make it oily feeling. The moral of this story is you should only put conditioner on your mids and ends, because they're the dry part of your hair. They need the moisture. They're not gonna get weighed down by it like your roots are. Keep that in mind so you don't get early and dry hair. Mistake number 5. All right, so I have this one blonde client that is really picky about her ends, and she asked me, what's the fastest way I can possibly get healthy ends?
I thought this was about me, but they're blonde.
So I tell her, you can't get healthy ends overnight, but you can make them look really healthy in like 20 seconds. So she perks up and she's like, okay, well, how do I make them look healthy? I reach for one of the products on the tray and I say, this hair oil is gonna make a huge difference for you. And instantly she's like, no. I've used hair oil and it didn't work. It just made my hair look wet and greasy. I'm like, okay, well, what brand of oil did you actually use? And she was like, I don't know, it's like this clear one. I saw it on Instagram. And when she said that, I knew exactly which one she meant, because it's really popular on social media and tons of people are out there using it, ruining their hair with it without knowing. It's called OGX Coconut Miracle, and when you put it in your hair, it looks like this. It's like you dipped your hair in a frying pan or something.
Poor Francesca.
It doesn't help your ends at all, because this oil doesn't actually get absorbed by the hair. It just sits on top doing nothing except maybe getting your shirt wet if your hair is long enough. So I tell her, you have to use an oil that your hair can actually absorb. The moisture needs to be on the inside of your hair. For dry skin, you use lotion that actually absorbs into your skin. You don't use like baby oil on top. The moisture needs to be on the inside. Same thing with hair. Using the right oil for your hair type will polish up your ends even if they're looking a little scraggly. That way they look much better, so you can stop getting trims and finally grow your hair out. And she's like, okay, cool. She's a really nice client. I like her a lot. And every time she comes in now, we try and embarrass her by saying, oh my gosh, look how healthy your ends are. Look at those ends. Mistake number 6. All right, so last week I was emailing back and forth with one of you viewers. She wasn't in my salon, but we're gonna do this animation thing anyway because it's fun. And I like fun. Do you like fun?
I like fun.
moving on. Anyway, she tells me, I'm having problems with my ends. I'm following your advice, but it's just not working. So I asked her like, okay, well, how exactly are your ends misbehaving? She's like, they get dry. And I bet you knew that she was gonna say that, but this time there's a catch. She says, my ends get dry on day 2 after I wash. So I think for a second and I'm like, but they look good on day 1? She's like, yeah, day 1 is awesome. No complaints. It's just after day 2. So I'm like, I've been doing hair forever and I've never heard of this. The oil works on day 1, but it doesn't work on day 2? And she goes, wait, I'm supposed to use oil on day 2 as well? Yes, you're supposed to use it every day. I explained to her how her hair, especially the ends, is constantly leaking moisture and drying out. So you have to keep putting more oil on your ends every day to replenish the moisture that you lost, or else you're just gonna keep drying out on you.
And sometimes you have to put it on twice a day.
Yeah.
Shout out to my San Diego lady.
So this one's totally on me. It's my fault. I should have done a better job explaining that you need oil every day. Now you know, now she knows. Her ends are looking great, although I wish she would send me a picture to confirm. Stop leaving me hanging, Jennifer. Mistake number 7. So one of my friend's girlfriends has been struggling with the whole oily and dry thing. It's really easy for me to give advice here in the salon because people are here literally to get better hair. But my friend's girlfriend is never at the salon. And it's hard to be like, can't help but notice you're struggling with your hair. Do you mind if I help you out with that?
I'm afraid to ask people in the salon if they want root spray.
Anyway, I had an easy excuse to fix the oily part for her because I gave her some of my shampoo when we launched. Check that box. But for the dry ends, it's a lot harder and...
You didn't give her conditioner?
She needs more conditioner. But for the dry ends, it's a lot harder. She has really brittle ends because she flat irons her hair every day without a heat protectant. And sometimes she'll be like, I don't like the way my hair feels. I need a new mask. What mask would you recommend? And I'm thinking like, you need more than a mask, my friend. But I will never say that. It's not what mama taught me. So instead, I try and open up the conversation like, sure, why don't you like tell me about the rest of your hair routine so I can find one that matches.
That's what I do in emails.
So she lists a bunch of stuff and I'm like, interesting, you flat iron your hair every day and somehow you have dry ends. Yeah. I want to tell her that there's no way to flat iron every day and have healthy ends. Masks aren't gonna be able to fix that. And even if you skip the ends when you're flat ironing, that's right, I see you guys out there, I know what you're trying to do, you're still damaging the hair that's about to become an end on your next trim. The answer obviously is to flat iron every 3 days instead of every day so your hair has a chance to recover, but I gotta figure out a way to tell her. I'll do an update soon because I know you guys aren't gonna be able to sleep until I do. Mistake number 8. All right, this next one is about training your hair. A client named Annie said to me, Chris, no matter what I do, my hair still gets oily on day 2. I never make it to day 3 like you recommend. Do I need to train my hair to go longer? And it's a good question because most people have heard about hair training, but they aren't really sure like what it is and exactly how it works. So I ask her, well, how long have you been going 2 days between washes? She's like, at least 5 months. So I bring out my slide projector and I explain, hair training is only beneficial when you're washing your hair too often. That overwashing dries your scalp out, which your scalp hates. Your scalp tries to fix that and overcompensates by making way too much oil. The way to stop your scalp from overproducing oil is to just stop washing so often because that's what dried it out in the first place. And she's like, but it's so uncomfortable to go longer than 2 days. My hair feels so gross. I can't stand it. So I say, dry shampoo helps out a lot. What brand of dry shampoo are you using? She goes, I haven't really been using dry shampoo. Dry shampoo is the easiest way to make it through training your hair so it's not a complete oily mess. Here, try this one. Now, you have to keep in mind that Annie has medium hair and should have been going like 3 to 5 days easily between washes. So training was perfect for her. But if you have fine hair that can only go 3 days between washes, even with dry shampoo, training isn't gonna help with that because that's totally normal. If you have fine hair, 3 days is what you should be aiming for. You're not really gonna be able to go past that. So Annie used the dry shampoo I gave her for medium hair. She got to 3 days, then she got to 4 days, and now she's going back between 4 and 5 days depending on what she did during that wash cycle. So happy ending to that story, but there's one more bonus thing that I told her that's kind of an advanced tip that I'm hiding here at the end of the video for you, and it's that heat styling keeps hair cleaner longer. One thing a lot of my clients say at first is that they don't have time to style their hair. But one by one, I'm converting them into stylers and they love it. Because like I said, heat styling keeps your hair cleaner longer, which gives you healthier hair. That's why you'll notice Leslie's hair is almost never air dried. It's always heat styled and it's by far the healthiest it's ever been. If you're one of those people who only styles for like events or like when you go out and stuff like that, you think that styling your hair takes forever. But the only reason it takes you forever is because you're not doing it often enough to get good and quick at it. If you practiced more often, you cut your time in half. So you're just replacing time spent washing your hair with styling your hair instead. So it's the same amount of time and effort, but your hair looks amazing. It's 1000% worth it. And bringing it back to this video, your roots don't get oily as quickly because you heat style and your ends are polished and sealed with the heat. So much better. I need to start talking about this more. Give it a shot. Let me know how you like it. Anyway, if you're struggling with your hair, the first step is always to start with the Trinity routine. Just make sure to use my recommended product list to find the best ones in each category for your hair type. You can check it out in the description. Get that healthy hair. Have a good one.